Hey again. So, I thought I was going to talk a little bit about a phenomenon that I spoke to my colleagues about yesterday, because like most of my colleagues are coming back from vacation now because it's still summertime. And for those of you who are not Swedish, you may or may not be surprised that all of Sweden basically shuts down over like August, July, and so like the summer weeks, because it's like everybody collectively almost goes on vacation at the same time. Anywho, that means that for the most part, like, I've been almost alone with like one or two colleagues in the office for a long time, and everybody started looking for work pretty much like when they went on vacation. So that basically means that I got to hear what like people are gonna do, and like some people have already signed with new companies and like where everybody's going. It's good. I mean, I love hearing that it's turning out well for all my colleagues. I mean, I had no doubt that it would, because like the people I work with they're very good at what they do, and very humble, and just in all nice people. So I wasn't worried. It's nice to trade notes about their experiences. And one thing like that has been creeping up on me now that I'm going into there's a massive truck coming. Sorry about this. I swear, it's the same truck every day. Like, there's obviously no correlation between me walking down the street every day at about the same time and him coming up that street about the same time. I think he does it out of spite. I think he waits here. He's lurking around, waiting to see. He sees my red sweater or hoodie or whatever, and then he just goes for it, loud as possible. He probably enjoys it. I don't know. Anywho. So I don't know how it is with you guys, but whenever I get too little to do at work, or in this case when I switch my jobs, I immediately start questioning, do I have what it takes to do this? And it's the same reason I went up to Klarna, like it's, just to see if I can do it, because I believe personally that it's very important, just like when you're trying to lose weight, it's very important that you continuously, you measure your waist and you weigh yourself every day, because for good or bad, if you go up or down, that's not so important, because if you lose weight, you'll get some positive reinforcement for you're doing a good job, and you'll remind yourself that, hey, I'm on a diet or whatever. And if you gain weight, that's going to be like a good wake up and say, a warning saying, hey, change something because you're going in the wrong direction. But if you don't do any of it, you're kind of in this unknown limbo and you don't really have any idea what's going on. And it's the same thing with this. Like, if you don't continuously test your abilities, you will lose your understanding of what you can do and what you can't do. And that's what's happening right now. So now that I've been doing, a lot of React and JavaScript and so forth for a long time, like, I know that stuff I pretty much know. And I know it fairly well. However, this new job, of course, includes, new things, new stuff to learn and all that good stuff. And you immediately start thinking, that horrible voice in the back of your head that's probably the same voice that tells you to that you're gonna fall when you're in a really high, on a high building or something like that. That horrible part of you that tells you that you can't do it. It's telling me right now that, oh, Fredrik, are you sure about this? Are you really sure? Do you think you have what it takes? Because maybe it was just luck. All those other things that you did at Ticketmaster, and maybe it was just luck, because you're not that good, and maybe you don't have what it takes. And that voice gets really loud when you have a lot of unknowns. So I spoke to my colleagues about this, and one of my colleagues laughed and said, yeah, I have the exact same thing. And he said, which is you know, it's probably the best medicine for this type of thinking. He said that, you know, I just try to remember that I've already had a few jobs, and like I have worked at Ticketmaster and so forth, so I know that, you know, I can do this. And, you know, because I have evidence, or I have proof that I can obviously do it. And, you know, I think that's fair. That is a healthy mindset to have. And, you know, it's the same type of mindset I adopt in order to, like, you know, you remind yourself that, yeah, there might be some new stuff here, and as long as you're willing to like try to adopt things and like do your best to understand these new things, it's probably gonna work out for the best. Because it's unless you're doing something specific, like really specifically complex, most of the time you're gonna be fine. I've had a few bad experiences with this, because I don't know if I get as hard. It gets hard for me to make an accurate measurement, because the difference in, like in my career, the difference between jobs have been so vastly, the gaps have been so massive. The first job I had was really like, it was a lot of complexity, and it was like, I mean, I was reading their job, like they're hiring new people, and it actually even says in their notice or whatever, like in the application specification, that this is not an easy job. It's really like we go for like I translated the entire text into, this is a fucking shitstorm in terms of workload. And it is. I mean, I remember how I was working there, and I mean, the people were nice enough, but the pressure was really high, and there was a lot of focus on things that needed to be like fairly flawless. And I, you know, that's absolutely reasonable if you're working with people's money and all that stuff. It's very important that you have a high level of accuracy. So I was very misplaced there. Then I come to Ticketmaster, and I kind of, you know, you do some good stuff and you do some bad stuff, and it kind of evens out, and you start to, you know, think of these things as fairly normal. And now you go to the new place, which, as I said, it brings up these thoughts of, you know, will I have what it takes this time? Maybe I was just lucky the other time. And hopefully you'll prove yourself wrong or right, depending on your viewpoint. The one thing that I do notice, which seems to be fairly consistent across all developers, and I've seen a few tech talks that touch on this topic, and I think I have to agree. One of the things that you have to get comfortable with when you work as an engineer or a programmer, anything that isn't really like just the same old boilerplate thing every day. I mean, if you're a cashier at a supermarket, you don't have this problem, but it is the problem you have is that you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because the nature of the work that you do is that you always have a certain amount of unknowns. But let's remember, you're getting paid for the most part to solve dynamic problems. Even if it's the same type of work, it's never the same thing. And bugs and all of that stuff, this is all very liquid, unknown stuff. And that's, you know, it's in human nature virtually to be a little bit afraid of the unknown. And so, because every job is different in IT. As a programmer, every job is different. You can do the exact same thing at another job, but the way that they do it is always slightly different. And like, you just have to kind of get to a point where you feel that you trust yourself. And let's just say that in order to survive as a programmer, you have to have a great deal of personal strength, or at least develop it, because if you're too hard on yourself, you're going to cripple yourself, like your self-respect and your sensation of self-worth. And if that happens, then it's pretty much over. So I think those are the words I'm going to end on, and I think they're fairly good. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.